Welcome again to the Franciscan Hermitage here in Indianapolis as we celebrate the third Sunday in Ordinary Time. You know, my dear friends, I have said this before, these readings are here to help us live our lives with a little more meaning and a little more joy. So it's to help us to understand the life process. And in the first reading, the prophet is talking about how God leads people out of the darkness into the light. And you know, that's sometimes a very dramatic change. St. Paul, for example, had to be knocked off of a horse and blinded before he was able to lead himself into the light and dramatically changed his life. But, you know, that kind of direction coming from God is not always that dramatic. You know, St. Augustine was a keenly intelligent man. And in his younger years, you know, he was a playboy. He was really into debauchery. And he really didn't have a faith. He was looking for it. And in his case, it was a progressive change. His mother had been praying for him for 18 years. And eventually, he saw the light. And this one person had a tremendous influence on the church, all the way up to the present time. Now, you know, those are dramatic changes. But you know, God is calling us all the time into different aspects of life. You know, the scientific community tells us that in one lifetime now, a person may be into 3 or 4 different professions. And for example, in my case, you know, I knew that I was supposed to be a Franciscan priest. I never thought I would be taking over the role of an author and then an international lecturer. But what I did is I paid attention to the direction that came to me from within. You know, we had a really interesting case here at the very beginning when we moved into the present building. That's almost 40 years ago. There was a woman who saw changes taking place in the building. She lived in the area. And so she stopped by, and when she found out what kind of operation we had, she was very interested. And she volunteered her services as a receptionist for many years. And she told us at one point that she always wanted to be a preacher and be able to help people using the scriptures. Well, her husband died, and soon after, she developed cancer of the breast. And when the doctors gave her only 6 weeks to live, she was put into a nursing home. Now, she had learned meditation from us. And so she immediately started to use meditation to promote that cure. And as the 6 weeks went on, she got better and better. And when they gave her an exam after 6 weeks, the cancer was completely gone. But she couldn't leave the facility because for her to get there, she had to give over everything she had. And she was living on $50 stipend for every month. Now, she was thinking, you know, they don't have a chaplain here. And she said, I've been always called to be a chaplain. So she said, I'll be the chaplain. And she did take that role for many years after that, living a very simple life in this nursing home and going into every single room, praying with the people and helping them either accept their life situation or to help them in the dying process. Now, you know, my dear friends, God's plan is perfect. And all we have to do is to pay attention and then follow that guidance. Now, you know, during this season, as we approach Lent, the whole purpose of this season is for us to ask ourselves, how can we live our lives with a little more joy and a little more meaning? That comes when you pay attention to where you are being led. So my suggestion is this week, take some time off and look at your life and ask, what is God calling you to do? And if you follow that direction, I can promise you, you'll be a very happy and contented and healthy person. Please remember, you are a powerful spiritual being. And your love makes a difference for you and for all the people whose lives you touch. Have a wonderful week, and God bless.